Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It is Friday, January 27th, 2017. 1 week has already passed since Inauguration Day, Donald Trump's first week in office. CNN's headline this morning: How Trump Changed the Presidency in 7 Days. The purpose of this video is for all the people who think there is one iota of truth in that headline. Donald Trump is a puppet stooge carrying out a script like an actor in a theater. And with that thought in mind, I want to remind you of two things from Inauguration Day. Donald Trump was sworn in on two Bibles. One was said to be his own Bible, the other was said to be the Lincoln Bible. It was Abraham Lincoln who became the president in 1861. 1861. You might recall with Lincoln, there was an assassination attempt in the history books on his life at the Willard Hotel on February 23rd, 1861, just before inauguration, which was March 4th back then. March 4th in the Civil War times. So 1861, Lincoln, Trump sworn in on the Lincoln Bible, as well as his own Bible. The only other president in history that has used the Lincoln Bible was his predecessor, Barack Obama. Barack Obama, the first president to use the Lincoln Bible from the land of Lincoln. Now, Donald Trump, following Obama, also uses it. And if you've been following my work, I've been showing the predictive programming of Donald Trump being the president of the United States through Barack Obama. Barack Obama in 2011 at the White House Correspondents' Dinner had the jokes about if Donald Trump were president of the United States, showing how the White House would turn gold, and a whole lot more. There's also the whole birther thing, which Donald Trump was front and center of, accusing Obama of having an invalid birth certificate and not being born in the United States. Anyhow, 1861, Lincoln Bible, Obama. The other big news that day was Melania Kennedy wearing baby blue, which had not been worn since Jackie Kennedy, the wife of JFK. And there's a parallel between Lincoln, Kennedy, Obama, and Trump, which we're going to elaborate on a lot more by the end of this video. But understand this: Lincoln became president in 1861. JFK became president in 1961. Obama was born in 61. We'll talk more about 61. We're going to talk about the ancient language of gematria. You can pronounce it either way. The word White House in that language sums to 61. 61. Number of focus. What I want to do real quick with regards to Lincoln and JFK: Lincoln was the first president to be assassinated. JFK was the last president to be assassinated. With those men in mind, I want to go back and watch this presentation. You've probably seen this before. The parallels between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. If not, we're going to watch this real quick. This is a clip from another channel. I want to talk about these numbers that they put on the screen as we go through in regards to Donald Trump. So here we go. Okay, so Lincoln elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy elected to Congress a century later in 1946, just like how they'd become president a century later. 46, very relevant to Donald Trump. He was born on a date with 46 numerology. You might recall the Trump tombstone story from Easter Sunday, March 27th, 2016. That was a date with 46 numerology. This past year, on Melania Trump's birthday, which is April 26th, 16, that's a date with 46 numerology. She turned 46 that day. What's significant about 46 is what it represents in the language of gematria using the alphabetic order. The alphabetic order is ordinal on this calculator. The word chaos equals 46. Freemasonry believes in order out of chaos, divide and conquer, and this is how those who truly govern over us operate by staging events, using them to steer the people of the world, and finding puppets like Donald Trump to play their part in misleading the masses, leading sheep to slaughter. You know, Donald Trump has that commercial from 2010 talking to the sheep. There's only 2 of them that have numbers on them, and they're standing on pillars. Their numbers 11 and 9, reminding us very much of the World Trade Centers. Let's not forget that Donald Trump, January 15th, 2000, published a book, The America We Deserve, predicting the demise of the World Trade Centers in a massive terrorist attack blamed on Osama bin Laden. Wrote about it nearly 2 full years before it happened, and the reason he did is because he knew it was to happen. He's part of this clique that is born and bred to be, that are carrying out the New World Order agenda. There's a reason that Clinton, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump are all born within 2 months of each other in the year 46. Donald Trump also born in 46. These are New World Order agents. They're all carrying out the same agenda. Democrat, Republican, 2 sides of the same coin, different rhetoric, same governing tactics. So anyhow, there's more to 46, but that's enough for now. There's a whole lot of 46 here on Trump. That Trump tombstone story, we'll talk more about the Trump tombstone. All it had on it for the date was the year 46. Let's continue. There's a big 60 that's on the tip of my brain that has to do with our federal government that I cannot think of right now. But the word conspiracy also has gematria of 60. Conspiracy. And in this society, we have been taught that the word conspiracy is essentially meaning ridiculous, not worth your time, to be ridiculed. And that couldn't be further from the truth. You know, JFK, out of his own mouth, talked about secret societies. We'll get to that. And conspiracy. He let the American people know there's a massive conspiracy upon them. It's funny to think that a president said that so clearly in a speech that anyone can listen to at this day and age. You know, everyone's walking around with these smartphones. It's like everyone has the information of the world at their fingertips, but then they don't use it to find anything in regards to the truth of this world. They just laugh at the word conspiracy, as they've been programmed to do. So, look at this. You know how they just made that point about both having 7 letters? A lot of names have 7 letters. Some things could be a coincidence, absolutely. But as we go through this more, you'll see that some of these things become completely undeniable. With regards to civil rights, I want to show you something about civil rights. The Civil Rights Act happened in 64, right? In 64, it happened exactly 223 days after the day JFK was assassinated. And I want to show you something about the number 223. That's the number for the Freemasons. JFK was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Mason. That's in Jewish gematria. But anyway, the Civil Rights Act signed 223 days after the killing of John F. Kennedy, and it was signed by Lyndon B. Johnson in 64. And we got our 44th president, Barack Hussein Obama, exactly 44 years after the Civil Rights Act. We'll talk more about 44. Just understand, Barack Hussein Obama is an actor agent name, a name for the American theater of politics, which we all live under, which is created by the numbers as it has been since the beginning of the country up to the present, something I've been educating about for going on 3 years. You learn this language of numbers into words, and you go through our history books, and you decode date numerology, your mind will be blown. Now remember, this gang, this Masonic, Zionist, you know, Zionist is a word that supposedly didn't exist during the time of Abraham Lincoln, but that's false. Zionism, what it is today, is something that's been with the world for a very long time. Freemasons, Zionists, Jesuits. This is the gang. This is the New World Order. They are sick. It very much, I shouldn't say seems, it is completely proven. These people in the spotlight, these celebrities, all around them, people drop dead. From presidents, politicians, actors, actresses, singers, media personalities, and more. All these bizarre, curious deaths that are pattern-oriented around them throughout their careers. Wouldn't surprise me in the least if, this was the rite of passage, giving up a newborn baby or doing some sick ritual while pregnant. These people who rule the world, they're just horrible. And you have to think about why they would do this. This is how you find loyalty. This is how you find loyal people who will carry out your agenda, who you can trust. Because they'll give up the loved ones. They'll give up their family. They'll do harm to their own body and the baby inside them to be in whatever position they're attaining. The presidency, the next actor role, the next big album promoted on MTV, whatever. And don't just take it from me. Take it from the people who've actually come out and spoken out about the industries that are in the industries. Again, we're in the information age. Do some research. I want to see something about Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head on a Friday. I forgot that part about Friday. JFK was shot in 63 too. Friday, 63. If you count every number 1 through 63 and add them together, it sums to 2016. Here Trump is being elected in 2016 by the numbers. Got a lot of videos on why Trump for the 58th presidential election. Talk more about it. So now we're getting to the part, another interesting part. Pay attention. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. And remember, Kennedy was traveling in a Lincoln, the automobile, when he was shot. That year, 1808, lose the zero, you're at 188, the number for the Bavarian Illuminati, established May 1st, 1776, just before the American Revolution. The number of the Bavarian Illuminati has been stamped all over the Trump presidency, 188. Trump alone is 88. But again, a century apart. Their successors, both named Johnson, born 1 century apart. What are the odds? Remember what 39 is, the number of books in the Old Testament, numbers having to do with laws. So 15, did you see that final part about how both the assassins' names are composed of 15 letters down at the bottom of the screen? I'll just show you this real quick. Kennedy and Lincoln both became president 15 years after becoming part of Congress. They became Congress in 46, president in 61, 15 years later. When you write out 15, it sums to 38 with the reduction method, like killing, and also like death in simple English gematria. These are numbers always found around death. Show you something about the name Barack Hussein Obama. Talked about how it sums to 64. It also sums to 163, just like Make America Great Again, 163. 163 is the 38th prime number. Make America Great Again, what's on Trump's red hat all year, synced up with Obama, Trump, LinkedIn numbers, which we're still getting to. 163 is the 38th prime number. So that's the 15 connection. Okay, so what's on the screen right there? Lincoln was shot at Ford's Theater. Kennedy was shot in the car brand Lincoln made by Ford. Booth ran from a theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater. So I want to start with Ford's Theater. This is where it gets really interesting in regards to Trump. Ford's Theater has gematria 58. Donald Trump just won the 58th presidential election. It was also the 58th presidential inauguration. They hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray to do the ceremonies. And the date of it was January 20th, 2017. A date with 58 numerology for the 58th inauguration for the 58th presidential election. So again, Ford's Theater equals 58. Lincoln had an assassination attempt on him at the Willard Hotel on February 23rd, 223. Talked about Masonic 223. The Civil Rights Act 223 days after the death of Kennedy. Look at this. Willard Hotel 58, just like Ford's Theater. And here's what's up with 58. 58 is the number of Freemasonry. JFK gave the speech about secret societies, this massive conspiracy, secret society 58. You know what else has gematria 58? The nation found by Freemasons, the United States 58. You notice how United States is 40? United States of America is 84. You see that? And if you write out 40, it sums to 84 as well. And the day Lincoln died April 15th, 1865. That's a date with 84 numerology. Or if you add it as 1865, so you add 18 more, it's a date with 102 numerology. Look at United States of America. 84 and 102, just like the day Lincoln died on, supposedly the president to save the United States of America. You know what's really interesting? The Civil War is blamed on Lincoln, and World War II, which was an agenda, synced up with World War I. A lot of Americans don't know World War history. World War I, the reason the United States joined the war was because of the Balfour Declaration written by Sir Lord Rothschild to deliver the Zionist state of Israel if the United States of America fought on behalf of the UK against Germany. The American people, who were largely Germans, supported Germany, and the way they got the Americans to fight against Germany on behalf of the UK in World War I was by using their papers, their mainstream media weapon, and what they did is they put in the papers every day that the leader of Germany was the Antichrist. They just wrote that he was the Antichrist, the Antichrist, the Antichrist. And being a predominantly Christian nation, all of a sudden people were ready to go to war with Germany. If you've never seen my videos on the World Wars, World War I was started over the number 84. Let me show you more about 84. Divide and conquer, 84. Order out of chaos, 84. This is the number for the Jesuits. Donald Trump is a Jesuit. Donald Trump began his Jesuit training in 1964, 52 years before being elected to the White House. His first position in government. The first Republican campaign, they kept flashing on the screen that Donald Trump was the 133rd richest man. And I kept saying, oh my God, I hope this does not mean he's going to the White House. Let it be the agent Bernie Sanders. But it wasn't. Remember I was telling you White House is 61? Oh, truth seekers. It's all a show by the numbers. All you Bernie lovers out there, I'm sorry. Bernie is an agent too. He's class of 64 out of Chicago, the Zionist Mecca. These are all agents long chosen and playing the part. You know, Bernie Sanders probably has a lot better heart than Donald Trump, but he knows what he's doing. He knows what the show is, and you don't ever hear him come out and say what the full show is ever. He just plays along, giving hope for the hopeless, just like Ron Paul on the other side. So anyway, I could go on all day about these numbers, but let's get back to the synchronicities here. Oh, let's also talk about theater in America, though. Theater, 32. Also 77, Washington, D.C. is on the 77th meridian. America, 32. And what's our date of independence? 7/4/1776. Look at this. Take the numerology digit for digit. It's 32. 32. America's 32. Does this sound like America to you? College is 32, average is 32, career 32. You know what happens if you write out 32? It sums to 50. Just like how America also has gematria of 50 in the 50 states. This is a well worked out system by a gang of Freemasons who put the tributes in the numbers and done everything by these tributes all throughout history. These numbers are bigger than America, but there's a reason they're coded in our name. There's a reason it's 50 states. Got to study up on your numerology. Let's continue with this display. We're almost finished. Oh, actually, I just got to check something for my own well-being. I've never done the Gematria Warehouse. Warehouse 43. And 52, which connects back to the White House. And 115, which in Jewish Gematria connects back to killing, if I recall right. JFK. Aha. This is why I love this calculator. Thank you, Derek. Derek recently launched this calculator for us. He found my work earlier or late last year, and he's gone out and built what I always dreamed of with this calculator. This just makes life a million times easier. So let's see that again. Warehouse has the 115 gematria using the alphabetic order. I just realized that you could click on the numbers today. I just want to see what happened. He added this whole new thing. Wow. Derek, you are the man. Okay, you guys, the calculator is getting better by the day. But that's another topic right there. Let's talk about JFK, the day he died, which is the day this guy ran in the warehouse. 11/22/1963. 11 plus 22 is 33. He died in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Freemason. Plus 19 more is 52. Plus 63 is 115. JFK dead on a date with 115 numerology. Killing 115. Warehouse 43. We're going to talk about 43 in regards to Obama, Lincoln, and the Civil War. Not yet, though. So that's what's up with Warehouse and Theater. Theater 77 with the alphabetic order. Washington, D.C. on the 77th meridian. Our Congress, nothing but actors, deceivers, frauds. It's time to wake up, American people. You know, stop thinking you'll be hopeless without Big Brother taxing the hell out of you every day. Imagine if you just continued on with your life and didn't have to pay your taxes to the federal government. You'd just be a lot wealthier. And you know what? With all that wealth, I bet you the people with all the new wealth back in the community, I bet you they'd take care of the things that you worry about. The streets going to shit, guess what? All the construction workers are still around, and now they can work without getting their ass taxed off. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Everyone thinks we need this Big Brother to tax the shit out of us and pave our roads once every 5 years. You don't think we can do this ourselves without Big Brother? Stealing all the wealth? Fear-mongering? Controlling the media, giving us nothing but fear and propaganda? This is what this video is all about. For the people who come here and consume this trash and don't know what they're doing yet. All right, now we're continuing on for real. All right, very interesting. Monroe, Maryland. Let's just check these names. This is research in real time because I thought that this video was going to do all the stuff from the Monroe, Maryland has the same gematria as New York City. New York City's like that. And Maryland, Monroe. Let's see. Marilyn Monroe sums to 73 like sacrifice. Well, anyway, what stands out to me about those names is the MM initials. M is the 13th letter. So M in the alphabetic order is 13, but when you break it down 1 plus 3, it becomes 4. So MM is like 4, 4. And that's the number that we want to talk about. The word kill using the alphabetic order sums to 44. The word shooting sums to 44. Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, both killed by shooting. One in a theater that was built in 1833. Originally built as a Baptist church in 33. Ford's Theater, Baptist with gematria of 33. Later became the theater that Lincoln was killed in. And then, of course, JFK killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza on 11/22, named after the 33rd degree Freemason. The Zapruder film, also made by a 33rd degree Freemason. And again, Zapruder from over by Soviet Russia. John F. Kennedy's assassin Oswald came back from same area. Think about where Donald Trump's wife's from, Melania. Donald Trump being announced as the 45th president on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Soviets, World War II aftermath, history by the numbers. Remember what, look at this. Donald Trump was elected on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall as the 45th president. Berlin Wall 45. JFK spoke at the site of the Berlin Wall just before his death in Dealey Plaza. Dealey Plaza 45. See how this goes? JFK died right at the beginning of Sagittarius, which has gematria 45 as well as 144. Let's go back to 44 for a minute. This is the kill number. I call this the kill number because all throughout history, people have been assassinated by this number. Executions 44, kill, shooting, whole lot more. Abraham Lincoln was the first president to be assassinated. Abraham, using the alphabetic order, is 44. His name also has 123 gematria, like conspiracy. If you noticed that earlier, conspiracy using the alphabetic order. His nickname was Honest Abe, which has gematria 44. He recorded on April 4th that he dreamt of being assassinated. April 4th, 10 days before he was shot, April 14th. 10 days later equals 144. Bobby Kennedy, JFK's brother, gave a speech on gun control in regards to the death of Martin Luther King Jr. and was shot 10 days later. He would die at 1:44 in the morning. There's just so much. It's hard for me to do these videos because there's just so much information I know that I want to share. But just look, Sirhan was the assassin of Bobby Kennedy. Sirhan, 66, also 138, like what's coded on Donald Trump, who won the election, more like the rigged, predetermined selection, 138 days after the Brexit vote. Hey, Brexit, by the way, another Freemason thing. Brexit, the surprise exit of Cameron, the beginning of Theresa May, TM, the last female prime minister, Margaret Thatcher, MT. But anyway, 138 days after Brexit, we get Donald Trump, who has all of this coding on him for an assassination. So the name Robert, we're talking about Robert Kennedy, parallels from the past. Robert's 33, Kennedy's 33. They come from Massachusetts, one of 333 states, when it's spelled correctly. There it is, Massachusetts. The only other two are the first state and the last state. What are the odds of that? 333 states out of 50. But anyway, Robert Kennedy is 66. Sirhan is 66. And both dead, or Robert Kennedy supposedly died June 6th, 6/6, at 1:44 in the morning. And he was shot the day earlier, June 5th, which is the 156th day of the year. He was shot June 5th, the 156th day of the year. When you write out 33, it sums to 156. When you write out Truman Burbank, it sums to 156. That's from The Truman Show, the movie, the main character, which came out on June 5th. That's named after the 33rd president. The same people who control your media, your government, the same people who control your dollar bills, the same people who control your Hollywood, your fake sports leagues that so many people think are real, not seeing at sports theater. And this is how the whole show is run, by the numbers. So we're coming back to 44, the kill number. Look at this. Abraham, the first president to be assassinated, the name Abraham's 44. JFK was the last president to be assassinated. He was the 35th president. The word Catholic equals 35. He's the only Catholic president today, but he was also the 44th term president. JFK was the 44th term. When you write out 44, it sums to 144. Just like how Sagittarius, he died on the first day of Sagittarius, just like how his brother died. The word killer in Jewish gematria is also 144. The word time is, special number here. I think the most powerful thing about 144 is its connection to the Fibonacci sequence and the word time. But it's no doubt how this number has been used throughout history in major assassinations that are meant to steer the course of history. JFK's assassination told the world to keep quiet and not speak truth or fear the consequences. Same with the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X. Malcolm X died on a date with a life lesson number of 44. His assassin's name is Thomas Hagen. Thomas Hagen got 44 years in prison. You see this? Thomas Hagen, 44. Martin Luther King Jr. died on April 4th, 4-4. When you write out April 4th, it sums to 144, just like 44. Isn't that weird? There's only one other number when you write out that sums to 144, and that's the number 71. I just want you to see how Catholics 35 and 71. If you write out 71, also 144. You know, Donald Trump, Secretary, is that what it's called? Secretary of Defense? Gematria will tell me the answer. Yes, that's right. Secretary of Defense equals 193, which is the 44th prime number, right? This is the head of the military. Military's 44. NATO was created in history on April 4th. His nickname is Mad Dog, and if you look at how he's writing his name, it's James N. Mattis, which equals 144. This guy is becoming the Secretary of Defense for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's the 45th president, but because of the count of presidents, which have been off since number 25 because of Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland was number 22 and number 24. He had a split term. Back then he ran, won, then he lost, and there was a different president, then he won again. So he had a split term. The 25th president was the 24th person, the 26th president, the 25th person, all the way up to the present. That means Trump's number 44. And again, Trump's attached to Obama, who just was number 44, who ran on hope. Obama, Trump, birther. This word birther, Gematria 44. You see? This is how this whole narrative has just been crafted all this time. All this made up content with these numerical tributes foreshadowing the agenda that we're living out. So we got here with the 44 through the MM connection, M the 13th letter. Remember, the first president to die in office was William Henry Harrison, who died April 4th, 4-4. Another surprise death in history was the 32nd president, FDR. He died on the 33rd parallel in Warm Springs, Georgia. Georgia, one of two states with a 44 gematria. Georgia, the other is Wisconsin. Last year in 2015, when I began my research for the rigged Super Bowl 51, the first prediction I came up with for the NFC was that it would be the Packers or the Falcons because the Super Bowl's on a date with 44 numerology this year, and they're the only two states with that connection. Plus, there was a little bit more to it. Like Houston equals 112, Matt Ryan equals 112, Matt Ryan playing in Atlanta, the R&B hip-hop group 112 from there. Look at where Matt Ryan is. Did you guys notice that they made an Aaron Rodgers Day in Wisconsin that's to be celebrated January 12th? They did that just this year before this Super Bowl in Houston before he lost to Matt Ryan. By the numbers. The Falcons won with 44 points if you missed the game. The script by the numbers by the Freemasons, it's our culture. The Freemasons have built this world around us. They gave us the pro sports. They gave us the television. They gave us everything that we know. We the people. Remember We the People 58? Like Freemasonry? So I hope you followed along. I hope that all made enough sense. I'll link all these things down below. Got the Gematria calculator, the article about Donald Trump using these two Bibles. Lincoln 61, JFK 1961, Obama born in 61. Just in case this is the first video of mine you've ever watched, let me give you one more truth nugget. You know, that consider this one the cherry on the top once my blog loads up here. Everything runs a little slower on my computer when I'm recording. It's because the camera uses up so much resources. But check this out. Andy Griffith shows what we want to pull up here. If you just search my blog like this, you can search so much content. There's over 15,000 blog entries on here. You can read for days and days and days. So there's this episode from Christmas Day 1961, right? Christmas Day 1961. Just want to show you what's up with the word Christmas. Christmas has gematria of 38 like death, 110 like president, and 411 like Jewish gematria, which I'm so glad I just pulled this up because until today I never noticed that Christmas was a 411 before. President, though, however, is also 110. So that's the major connection. Christmas. Notice the word assassin is 411 in Jewish gematria. I want to send one more thank you to Derek for this calculator. This is why this calculator is just so awesome. It just helps you see things that you might have never noticed before. I've been doing this research for 3 years, and just today, for the first time in real time, I'm noticing that Christmas is 411, which just makes this even more powerful. In this episode, Sheriff Barney from Christmas Day 1961, it's about a bootlegging family getting busted at the address 411 Elm Street. And that is exactly what it says in the history books where JFK was shot from. 411 Elm Street. 411 Elm Street. Foreshadowed in this show. Now here's where it gets really trippy. Excuse me. Barack Obama was born August 4th, 1961. Remember, United States of America is 84. The name Obama in Jewish gematria is 84. And by the way, these methods I have up on the screen right here, if you're going to study methods of gematria, this is your bread and butter. This is going to show you so much. If you're just aware of these three, the S exception and reduced are pretty much the same. These three methods based on the alphabetic order, the Jewish gematria is its own independent, very important chart that reveals so much in this world. For example, Donald equals 119, announced as the 45th president on November 9th, 11/9. Has that commercial from 2010 with the sheep talking about being born for the job. Sheep number 11 and 9 standing on pillars. Hello, 9/11. All-seeing eye, 119. Using the alphabetic order. Star of David, same thing, 119. Master plan. Special number. So anyway, back to the Sheriff Barney thing. From Obama's birthday that year to Christmas Day, that episode was 144 days. This is the year JFK became president, who would be killed on the first day of Sagittarius as the 44th term president. 44, 144. Sagittarius, 144. His brother dead at 1:44 in the morning. By the way, Martin Luther King Jr., who died on April 4th, 144, his assassin would die 30 years later in prison on a date with 144 numerology. Malcolm X's assassin got 44 years in prison, supposedly. But just ask yourself, what are the odds? What are the odds of all of this? Some more 144 numbers, Mark of the Beast. Dealey Plaza also has the same gematria as the Andy Griffith Show. It's just mind-blowing, Truth Seeker, what's going on in this world. And you know what's even more mind-blowing? That I've been putting out this work for 3 years, and millions of people don't know about it yet. I don't get it. I thought when I started putting out this work, showing people what's going on by the numbers, this undeniable rigging of history by the numbers, I thought people would go crazy with this information. It's undeniable. I don't know how I have a single critic. I don't know how anyone fights against me as they do. I want to give you a list of some words that are really significant here. We're going to look at it with the reduced format. I'm just going to type these words in and then we'll just go through the list. Okay, truth seeker. So I just punched in a list of words. Think about this. If you've ever seen The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they say that the meaning of life is 42. And everybody wants to know what that joke is. The meaning of life, the joke, is saying who's built this world as we know it. You know, almost everyone who's living in this world is operating under a code, a set of programming. You know, get educated, take care of myself, make myself happy, take care of my family. Don't worry about much else. Enjoy life, have fun, consume alcohol, watch sports games, go on vacation, whatever, go to the movies. This is the way most people are operating. These are the thoughts that are in their head. And here we're talking about, you know, a quote from a book, a film, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. 42, Freemason 42, History 42, Knowledge 42, Economics 42, Building 42. I should mention that the word architect is 42. The Freemasons are builders. They pride themselves on being the keepers of knowledge, the invisible architects of society. Here, in this nation we're born into, most people are programmed to be Christians from a young age. And no matter what part of the world you're in, when you're a child, in most parts, your family will indoctrinate you into the cultural religion. And Freemasonry prides itself on, you know, knowing the religions of the world. You know, keeping all of the knowledge that's out there. Mainstream religions, esoteric knowledge, occult knowledge, things most people don't know about. So anyhow, the Bibles, the first printed Bibles, and who had the capability to create the original published printing presses, you know, to get out information? It's not hard to see. It's the people who've been controlling information all along. Books, papers, school curriculum. From the beginning, it's been the Freemasons. Because what are the Freemasons? They are an international network, thousands of years old, across the whole world, sharing, you know, capability. Working together to control the masses. The New World Order is worldwide. The New World Order is an old world order. It seems to have divisions within itself. It's what created the United States of America. So anyway, New Testament 42. The New Testament begins with the 42 generations leading up to Jesus. The first book in the New Testament is Matthew. I want you to notice that Matthew equals 27. There's 27 books in the New Testament. Notice the word math, you know, math, right at the beginning of Matthew. But look at this. Math, using the alphabetic order, is 42. Like gun, like war. World War is 42. Holocaust, what we learned about so much from World War II, 42. Think about Japan in World War II. One of the big instigators of the war. A lot of people don't even realize that World War II, it began with Japan and China and what was going on in Asia. And here in the U.S., they just leave out that whole part. They leave out what went down in World War I. We just get a really broke version of information about World War II. Pretty much all we learn every year, again and again in school, is that the Holocaust happened and Adolf Hitler was the worst man ever. I'm gonna close this up with a lesson about Adolf Hitler and Abraham Lincoln, which I meant to do earlier. I'm sorry, you guys. This whole thing's just off the cuff. I hope you're following along. I just know along the way, just already thinking back, I was like, oh yeah, there was a bunch of things I meant to say that I haven't said yet. Could just go on all day about this stuff. This video is just a freestyle. So anyway, Japan 42. I mean, think about the military and UFOs, unidentified flying objects. You know, UFO 42. The word new is in New World Order 42. Society addicted to the new. The Freemason compass and square, it has a big G in the middle. Big G represents 42 as well. That's in the times 6 method. You just multiply each letter times 6. Again, the Freemasons, the invisible architects. Freemasons. They shouldn't be the meaning of life, but they truly are. I mean, they've created meaning in pretty much everyone's life. Pretty much the things everyone has taken on, from religion to fake history. It's because of these Freemasons. These people are playing God over the masses. You know how on the dollar bill it says, "In God we trust"? Notice Mason has this gematria of 26. So does dollar. So does the word God. On the back of the dollar bill, it says Annuit Coeptus, God favors our undertaking. Annuit Coeptus 58, like Freemasonry, like secret society, like United States. We covered that earlier. So here's the final lesson. When you write out 42, it has a gematria of 43, right? You see that? Barack Obama was the 43rd person to be president. On February 11th, 2009, he reopened Ford's Theater, where Lincoln was shot. That was a date with 42 numerology, plus it was the 42nd day of the year. 42 is a number stamped all over black people throughout history. For example, the only month with 42 gematria is February, Black History Month. The most hateful word for black people sums to 42. Anyway, Obama reopens Ford's Theater on February 11th, the 42nd day of the year where Lincoln was assassinated. So think about it. The Civil War, it had to do a lot with slavery, rights for black Americans. The word slavery, by the way, has gematria of 102, just like United States of America. And the Civil War began on April 12th, 1861 in Charleston, right after Lincoln became president March 4th. April 12th is the 102nd day of the year. Now look at this. Civil War equals 43. So does Charleston, where the Civil War began. Lincoln, the Civil War president, was born on the 43rd day of the year. Obama, from the land of Lincoln, was the 43rd man to be president. He gave his acceptance speech in Grant Park, Obama. Grant Park, 43, and his acceptance speech was November 4th, 2008. That's 11 plus 4 plus 20 plus 08 equals 43. You see this? All tributes in history. And look at what they did to us in the time of the Obama administration. They gave us all this racially divisive propaganda through the media. Then for the final year and a half of Obama's term, they gave us this divisive character, Donald Trump, who was a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, someone who mocked the handicapped, and everything else. And somehow he got to become the president. You can't see what a show this is to provoke the people, to steer them to madness. That's what it always is in this nation, to steer you to madness. One last thing before I talk about this last madness on the screen, promoting McDonald's health and nutrition. April. April equals 56. So does the word president. Do you know who died in April at age 56? Lincoln was one. Who else? The man who they couldn't recover his body. Hitler. Hitler dead at age 56 right after his birthday. Supposedly born 420, the 110th day of the year. 420 is the 110th day. President Adolf Hitler born on the 110th day of the year. Both of these men dead at 56 at the end of wars in mysterious fashion. Lincoln in a theater from an actor. And then in light of what we know about Kennedy and all the same coding, you know? Again, theater has the same gematria as America. Middle degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, 32. But just think about it. Hitler, Lincoln, blamed on wars. And you know what? If you read about the conspiracies known around their deaths, the Jesuits are connected. The Jesuits supposedly protected Hitler in South America for the rest of his life. And supposedly, Lincoln's assassin was a Jesuit who was protected by the Jesuits for killing him. That if you read the conspiracy, that's what you'll come away with. In truth, I don't know that Lincoln was ever assassinated by an actor in a theater. If you look at the play that he was watching, it's a mockery of us. I've done a video on it. You can go find my old video. The main character in the play was named Asa. You know, Abe died watching a play about Asa. Go read what the play's about. It's, you know, I could tell you now, but sometimes I gotta, you know, I gave you enough here. I want you to do some research yourself. You know what I mean? But yeah, just turn off the news. The only reason that I invest all this time that I knew to turn off the news after September 11th. I thought, okay, my nation wants to tell me all these lies on the TV screen and they expect me to believe this. I thought the day of 9/11, I thought there was a lot of people in the U.S. that had to be feeling the same way I was feeling. And then I realized that I was like a space alien compared to my fellow man. They all thought I was crazy. Because why? Because I was showing them the clear lies of September 11, 2001 as an 18-year-old. The TV, the media, they told us that day they could not recover any of the planes. Well, supposedly there was an engine that didn't even match a commercial airliner blocks away in New York City. But that was the only piece of evidence that there were any planes. And they were telling you that despite that they couldn't recover these planes, such as in Pennsylvania where it supposedly crashed into a field, they said that at these crash sites they recovered passports, box cutter knives, and turbines. And they said that they recovered that at all the crash sites, but they couldn't find the planes or the other passengers or the luggage. So they told us that they could not recover, human bodies, but they found paper passports and cloth turbines. And they wanted to blame it on a man in a cave across the world. And I just thought, how stupid do they think I am? I'm not a stupid person. This is obviously bullshit. You got this son of a former president who's making a mockery of us all, and now we have this complete lie of a terrorist attack. And they're showing us footage of a man in a cave. I mean, who's fallen for this? Well, the next day, I found out real fast that everybody was falling for it. Everyone was falling for it, and I was an asshole for bringing these points up. Breaking news, Trump expected to sign executive order limiting the flow of refugees. So, look, I just want you guys to understand these are all controlled, planned narratives. Donald Trump is just the man fulfilling the script. Look at what they did to us in the post-9/11 era. In the post-9/11 era, they scared us about Islam, radical Islam. They have everyone scared of Muslims, one of the most peaceful religions in the world. For all of you who aren't Muslim, if you don't know their culture, if you're over in their country and they see you in need, outside, hungry, they don't care what you believe in. They're going to take you in their home and take care of you. And the way these families work, they have rules. Like a strange man can't be in the house with women. A Muslim family will go outside of their own home to shelter and take care of you so that you can be well. These are the Muslim principles, and that's why in these Muslim nations, there's no homeless people. Look at the U.S., this Christian nation, full of homeless people, full of people who don't care about anyone. Christians get mad at me because I say I like Islam more than Christianity. You know why that is? Because the Islamic people I've known in this world, they've been better than the Christians I've known. They've funneled in a lot of poor Muslims into this nation in the post-9/11 era at the same time of scaring people against Islam. This is all agenda. This is all divide and conquer. This is all New World Order tactics, order out of chaos. And now they bring in the orange Oompa Loompa Donald Trump to be the hero for the segment of America that can't see what's going on, which is almost everybody. Look at that man. What a disgrace. It always is a disgrace, but this is easily the biggest disgrace of my lifetime. I mean, who's out there that doesn't think this is the biggest disgrace of their lifetime? Go watch that commercial from 2010 where Donald Trump's talking to the sheep 11 and 9, wearing the same suit and tie he wore on election night. The last digital sheep looks at the camera and says, "Where is your dignity?" That is the question at this day and age. Where's your dignity, America? You haven't stood up to any of the lies. You haven't stood up to any of the tyranny. You've mocked truth. Now look at where you are. And here is the bottom line for why it is this way. You are what you eat, and the people of America are walking around toxically poisoned human beings from ingesting the purposefully poisonous food that plagues our society. We are a people that have been kept busy and had our time wasted since we were children in kindergarten, going to school, learning lies, being in a state-run building all day away from our family who are off busy slaving away at their low-paying jobs. The average parent sees their child a lot less than the teacher does in the week. And who are these teachers in classrooms? I'll tell you what, as a former school teacher, I can tell you a lot of people that are teaching are people you would not want around your children, but they're there. A lot of people that aren't anywhere near fit to be educating anyone. People that don't know a single thing about this world. Talking about 90% of the American public teachers. But anyway, these people just being kept busy, busy, busy. So they don't have time to make a proper meal, a nutritious meal. So many people eating microwavable meals, oven pizzas, fast food. And, part of the reason they do it, even though they see their bodies falling apart, how many Americans are plagued with anxiety, depression, all these problems, obesity, and all they can do for a solution because they don't have any time is go out and try to buy a pill to help them. Look, if you suffer from these problems, obesity, anxiety, depression, and understand if you're awake, just being awake can hurt you and lead to all of these things. But look, you can overcome it. And the easiest way to overcome the problems is to eat right and put the right fuel in your body, the right minerals, the right nutrients. Think about your body as the most, so that's something I've noticed about American people. They'll spend all this money on material things, flashy clothes, wheels on their car, but then they'll go cheap on the food, what they ingest. They hardly spend any money on their food, but they'll spend all their money on material things, which in the end are nothing, In the end of your life, the average American, they're dying of a disease that they could have avoided, and they don't have the money to take care of themselves. And if they could look back at their life, probably most of their wealth was spent on material garbage that can't do anything for them. Imagine if instead the average American had put their investment into taking care of their body with organic, nutritious food their whole life. You know why so many Americans can't do it? Because they can't even afford it. They can't afford it. An organic tomato costs the same thing as a hamburger at McDonald's. And that's just it. We live in a nation where food is subsidized in a way to make the horrible food for you cheap so you can afford it. And the food that makes you live long, you can't afford it. And not only that, from a young age, this media is programming us. Look at what's on the screen here. A nutritionist guide for fast food. You have milk, chicken nuggets, it looks like ranch, and packaged yogurt. All of these things are bad for you. They're all bad for you. All of them. If you haven't seen my video on dairy, check it out. Dairy is the most cancer-causing thing in the world. And notice in grocery stores, during the time they do the pink ribbon campaign, all the dairy products have the pink cancer ribbon. I gotta tell you guys something about the word ribbon. 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 33. You know when Susan G. Komen supposedly got cancer at age 33? Show you something about cancer. Cancer equals 44. Like chemo. Whoops. I did something I didn't even mean to do. Hacking your website, Derek. Sorry. Chemo. Kill. Cancer, chemo, kill. All 44. Pay attention to headlines. See how many people drop dead from cancer that are B celebrities from at age 44. It's bizarre. Happens all the time. So anyway, Truth Seeker, this is just what it is. It's all lies, your media. Telling you to eat at McDonald's to be nutritious. Telling you Donald Trump's doing things. All that comes through is lies. The foods that will save your body are the organic foods that are plant-based, your green vegetables, your berries, the blueberries, almonds. The more vegetables, the more fruits that are organic that you eat, the longer you'll live, the healthier you'll be, the better your body will function. Make food your medicine. Here in the West, they don't teach us that. They teach us that food's really not that big a deal. Just eat to be full, eat to enjoy, satisfy your taste buds. And that's what these companies like McDonald's do. They invest all of their wealth in science to enhance the flavors of their food. They give you sick cattle that produce bad beef, and they inject it with all sorts of things to make it tasty, to give it the addictive qualities that so many Americans need. For all of you who are addicted to these toxic foods, which is almost everyone, look, watch footage of what goes on in slaughterhouses. Watch the footage that goes on in American slaughterhouses for cattle, pigs, chickens. Every year in this country, billions of animals are slaughtered on an ongoing, essentially roller coaster, conveyor belt of death to keep up with all the meat that's eaten. And it really is gruesome. It really is gruesome. And when you realize that this food that comes from these animals' flesh isn't good for you, look, you can be healthy and eat meat if you exercise and still get fruits and vegetables, but the research shows the less animal protein you consume, flesh, eggs, dairy, the more plant products you consume, the longer you'll live, the less prone you'll be to disease and illness. And for all of you who've struggled your whole life to lose weight, I can guarantee that none of you have ever been vegetarian or vegan. I bet all of you overweight people, you eat vegetables, fruit, oatmeal the way I eat, you're going to have trouble packing on weight. I've weighed the exact same thing since I was 18 years old, minus the part of my life where I drank a lot of protein shakes and worked out all the time. The most I've ever weighed in my life is 175. And back then I was nothing but muscle. My natural body weight is right at 160 pounds. And if I just eat right, have, some balanced exercise, I just stay right there. It's just so easy. I hardly have to do anything to stay fit and healthy. And I never have to go to the doctor. I hardly ever get sick. There's a lot of people who've been saying I'm a shill because I promoted the vegan diet. You guys, I'm only promoting that diet because I've been mostly on that since I was 18 years old. A lot of people think I look young for my age, I wear this hat all the time. But yeah, I got a full head of hair, everybody. I haven't lost my hair. The hair's all here. Almost all my friends who are my age, they've been going bald, gray since they turned 30, late 20s. And you know what? They've all been making fun of me, calling this the woman's diet, eating the way I've been eating. But you know what? There's benefits to eating right. Your body, it needs nutrition. When you eat just to satisfy your taste buds, you're giving into temptation. It's weird that we're made that way. Just because I've talked about so many things, I'll just close this video out with some thoughts on the God of this world that created us. It seems that the God of this world who created us, they really do want to test us in certain ways. Temptation, this real thing. As men, we want to have sex with every beautiful woman that comes our way. But is it right? I don't know if it's right because our whole life we've been programmed that it's not right. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be having sex with everybody. That's evil. But at the same time, it's like, well, why did God make us this way? Why do we have these chemicals flowing through us? And why are our bodies this way? And when it comes to sex, most of us, if it is temptation and we're not supposed to give into it, we give into it. Pleasure, happiness. Food, sex, they're so similar. Most people, the way they eat, they put all these toxins in their body because it tastes good on their tongue. I guess that's the difference between food and sex. In terms of if you have responsible sex, if you're honest with people, if it's all good between those consenting, I don't see where the harm is done, unless it involves lying, cheating, hurting somebody else. But food, when you don't eat right, there are real consequences. You're going to die sooner. You're going to have more disease and illness. You're going to be more lethargic. Your mind's not going to work as well. But anyway, temptation. Temptation, it's this thing that leads to problems when we give into it too much. So who knew where this video would end up? I didn't even know when I started. I just saw this cover and I just thought, look at all this stuff. They're acting like Trump's changing the world when he's just the puppet stooge. They're telling people to eat McDonald's. Still, not enough people sharing my knowledge. See if today's presentation gets out there. oh, what the hell? One more thing. Let's talk about money and saving, since we're just talking about this world and how to improve it. The reason I wear my hat, you guys, is also because I save money and I keep my house cool, and I'm up in the Pacific Northwest and it's cold up here. And I mean, the hat allows me to keep the house 10 degrees cooler, honestly. So that's why I do it. I keep my bills super low. I live like I'm the poorest man in the world, so I can get out here and do this every day. But, I'm not the poorest man in the world. I know how to make money. I've had money in the past. I've always saved money. And part of the way I've saved money is by making food for myself and not eating out and shopping smart. Look at this. In the past year, you guys, I've really loaned two different families $3,000 each. And it was the exact same scenario for both of them. They didn't have the money for their rent. They were going to get kicked out. They didn't have the money for their car payment. They were going to have their car taken. They needed money to avoid their situation. And they both knew that I had money saved up on me because these people have been in my life for a while. They knew that I was a good person. They know that I help people. Both of these incidents happened about 2.5 months apart. One person came to me for $3,000 and then the same thing happened again. And honestly, Truth Seeker, here's what I've been doing with the saved money I have. I've been living on a really tight budget so that I can do this. People ask, how do you afford to do this? It's because I'm living on money that I saved up. And you know what? There's an end date for that. And that end date is about April of this year. I'm getting very close. That's why I'm planning to put out the book real soon. I'm hoping the book generates revenue so that I can continue to do this work. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go get a part-time job because I'm not going to go back to doing what I was doing before to save up the money, which I've talked about. But anyway, I gave both of these people $3,000 to help them out. And you know what? Neither of them have paid me back a single dollar, and both of them promised everything that they would pay me back. The first loan I made was at the beginning of last year. It was this time, 2016, I gave someone $3,000. It was March, beginning of April, that I gave the next person $3,000. And I trusted both of them to pay me back. I knew it was a risk because they're in financial trouble, but they both explained their situation. They said that if they could get over the hump, they'd be able to save the money and pay me back. And I gave both of them 1 year to pay me back. Well, it's been a year from the first person, and they have not paid me back a single dollar. The other person has paid me back $300 so far. And they told me it would only take them 3 months to pay back. But this is the thing. Here's the problem with both of these families that I helped out. They both live this American lifestyle. Two working parents, slaving away. Both of these people, they live in buildings that have expensive rents, and they're not even that nice of places. These people, both of these families pay $2,000 a month for their rent. You know how much I pay to live in my house per month? If you count property taxes, I pay $1,000. The payment I have to make is only $700 for my own house, which I own. You don't ever really own anything in America. If you have a payment to the bank really still owns it. And even if you do own it, you have to pay a ton of property taxes to the state every year. So it's like, who really owns this? I mean, why? I have to pay $3,500 a year in property. Well, they brought them down a little bit, but I mean, that's just way too much. You divide that over a year, that means you're paying $300 and some a month in property taxes. That's almost rent. A lot of people pay that in their rent if they just share a room at a house. But anyway, the point is, I own a house. I have to pay $1,000 a month total, right? These people live in smaller apartments that aren't that nice, and they have to pay $2,000. This is why in this world you want to save money. Saving money, getting a chunk of money, it allows you to do things. Like put down a payment on a house and then pay towards owning something and pay a lot less than rent. These families that I've helped out, they both make more income than me. But the problem is they have all sorts of bills. They have way higher rent. They eat out all the time. They have expensive cable. They each drive, they're both two-car households with pretty nice cars. There's just so many people in America this way that just get themselves into trouble because they just spend, constantly what they have, and then a problem comes in life, and then they can't get over their next bill cycle. And the next thing they know, they're kicked out of where they live. And then they don't have their cars anymore. So here's the point I'm going to make. The people who I helped out, they're both still able to maintain where they live, but it's at the rate they're going, they're going to end up getting kicked out. And both of them, they're like living in parallel universes. They both had their vehicles towed away and impounded and had to give them up because they can't pay the stalking fees. So these families that I helped out, they haven't been able to improve their situation because they weren't able to get over the hump like they thought. But they were able to maintain for a long time before these problems came upon them. And look, I'm trying to help you guys out with this knowledge. You don't want to be like these people. You want to save your money. You want to live reasonably. You want to find a place where rent isn't over the top so you're not slaving away just giving all your money to the landlord each month. By staying home and making your meals, literally, you can feed yourself for a whole week in 1 or 2 meals and eating out for the week. And you can feed yourself more nutritiously. You can have some extra snacks. If you just make your own meals, you can save so much money. So this is how I live, Truth Seeker. I save money. I shop smart. For example, there's a grocery store that's about an extra mile from the closest grocery store to my house, and it's called Grocery Outlet. We have them in the Pacific Northwest. They're a grocery store that buys groceries from the bigger retailers when they're overstocked, and then they charge a lesser price. And for some things, it's a way lesser price. So stores like this, they always have changing merchandise. You don't know what's going to be there, but that's what I do. I go through and I buy the organic items they have. You know, I buy the good vegetables they have, the good frozen vegetables. By the way, frozen vegetables and fruits, the most affordable way to eat fruits and vegetables organically. And for people who like the raw diet, you know, you can't really eat frozen vegetables raw. Well, I guess you could, but you want to cook them. And yeah, maybe there's something to losing a little bit of nutrients when you cook. But for the most part, I've cooked my vegetables and I've been healthy. But I do eat a lot of raw spinach and whatnot. The point is, organic cooked vegetables, they're not bad for you. They're still good for you. You shop at a store like Grocery Outlet, these secondhand store retailers, you can get organic food for dirt cheap. What Grocery Outlet literally does for your bill is cut it in half to even 66% off, I'd say. So often, because what they always do there at the store I shop at is they tell you how much you saved. And they'll say, today you spent $45 and you saved $87. And I'm just like, that is what I'm talking about, Grocery Outlet. And you're just walking out there just stacked with groceries. And normally it's organic food. I eat some fish. I'll get organic salmon from the ocean when they have it. You know, sometimes they have organic halibut. I'll get that because you know, some of you really don't want to eat any living creatures. And you know, God bless you. You're great people. But for me, myself, I've always enjoyed a little fish here and there. There's been stretches. There was a 7-year stretch where I was completely vegan with a tiny bit of vegetarianism, no fish, nothing. But anyway, so now these days I like to eat a little bit of fish. I think, I don't know. I think there's some health benefits to it. Then again, they say there's so much mercury in the fish, we shouldn't be eating it. But these are just the consequences of the day. We live in a toxic world. The more fruits and vegetables you eat, the more your body will be cleaned out. Especially things like parsley and cilantro. They have within them ingredients that clean out the metallic toxins inside your body. Read more about fruits and vegetables. There's certain ones that have special qualities that clean out the toxins that kill us all. But anyway, money and being smart with money can change your whole reality. The only reason what I'm doing is possible is because I've always been smart with money, and that's something that I'm thankful my parents taught me. When I was young, my parents made me work. I had to clean houses with my mother in the summer. I had to mow lawns. You know, my parents urged me to learn to mow our lawn and then to go out and put out flyers and mow other people's lawns. I was mowing people's lawns when I was 11, 12 years old, you know, doing odd jobs. I had paper routes. When I was 14, there was a grocery store that hired cart pushers. I had so many jobs growing up, and my mom, my dad, they told me just save it all along. I saved up all this money. When I was 16, I had enough money. The day I turned 16, I had enough money to buy my own car. I bought the first computer for my family when we were 13. You know, we never had a computer. I bought the first computer with the money I was earning. So anyway, my parents always taught me to save money. That allowed me to go to school and do everything else that I've done. I've always saved, and I've never had to rely on anyone. And it's afforded me this opportunity the last 3 years to do what I'm doing. Only possible because of saving. Plus, I've been able to help out other people. And I just mentioned the 2 people I helped out this year. I've helped out a lot of people along the way. If I could have all the money back that I've given to people to help them that's never been repaid to me, it'd be a lot of change, Truth Seeker. I've helped out a lot of people in this world. I used to teach, and this teacher came to me one day that I was friends with. We hung out a little bit. He smoked weed, and I smoked weed. That's really where we were cool. He lied to me about this financial problem he had, but he needed $1,200 one day to bail him out of this situation. He said his wife was going to leave him if he didn't come up with the money. And I said, I got you, man. And just by knowing he was a teacher and on payroll like me, I thought I would never have any problem having him pay me back. Co-teacher in a school. Needed $1,200 in a pinch. Never got that money back from him either. It's amazing how many people in this world will ask for things but have no intention really of paying back. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is you don't want to end up like these people. And the way to not end up is to save. No matter how poor you are, no matter how little of money you make, you can always save money by spending accordingly. I mean, if I was absolutely dirt poor, you know, this is what I would do in terms of my food. And I would go find, you know, something like ramen noodles and organic broccoli in the store. Because I know I could pick up a pack of broccoli and some organic noodles for $2 to $3. And I know I could feed myself with that food for 3 days probably. You know what I mean? And I know it wouldn't be the greatest thing in the world for me, but it wouldn't be the end of the world either. I wouldn't put the full flavoring packet in there because that's where all the toxins are. But the point is, I would just make the changes I need to fit my circumstance. And that's the way everyone should be, making decisions that are in line with their circumstance. If you're hardly making a wage right now, you got to find a place where you can pay the rent, you know, maintain your diet, cover your bills, and still put a little money away. You should make it a goal every month to save money. Having saved money can bail you out of all sorts of situations, you know? When you have saved money, you live in a money-based world, you can afford yourself time. And it's the only reason I've been able to do what I'm doing. I don't even know how long this video is, True Seeker, but I got to cut it off right here, you know. We've gone all over the place. I just want to talk to you, to those of you who want to listen to all this. Until next time.